What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. We'll have our show tonight here live with Sydney Watson discussing all of this week's news thus far. But before we get to that, some new kind of files were released, or leaks, or whatever the case may be, that look quite bad for Andrew Tate. Now, a lot of what seems to be being used against him are his own words, literally self-snitching, as some people might say. But I think there's an important second part to all of this. I'm going to go over some of the things that were released in these documentations, these documents that got out, that look, you know, even if you're a huge super mega fan for Tate, you've got to admit look pretty bad. But again, you have to still, I will say this again, like, you still have to prove that he did these things. People say they do stuff all the time. Maybe they're trying to impress their girl, or they're trying to impress somebody else. You have to actually prove it, which they have to do. So I don't care how much you hate the guy or love the guy. I hope that we can agree that, you know, a fair trial needs to happen. And maybe some people believe that he will be vindicated. Some people believe he will not be vindicated. And that's for the court to decide. But there was, you know, a turnaround now, or an update in the kind of Tate losing his appeal. He had lost his appeal against his asset seizures and all of the things of that nature. So the Romanian government took all of his cars. He was also appealing, from what I understand, you know, the fact that they have him under lock and key for at least 30 days or till the end of the month at this point. So he's, you know, not allowed to roam free in preparation for his trial. He still seems to be sending, you know, quite a few tweets from behind bars, which was odd to me, but maybe he's just, you know, calling and scheduling them, or he's meeting with people and he's saying, hey, go tweet this. Heck, I don't know. Maybe they get cell phones in there. I don't know. I don't know what it's like, and I hope I never do. But, you know, yesterday on the heels of a judge saying, hey, no, we're not going to listen to an appeal. A lot of what Andrew was alleging, or tried to allege, was that many of the things that he has said that are being used against him were under like a character. He was playing a character. And maybe that's true. But the judge did not agree. The judge did not say or think that he was playing a character, largely in part due to other files that were found on his computers that were not made public. Files that don't look great. In particular, one of them is him basically laughing about how Romanian law enforcement can be bought and paid for. And again, maybe that's true, but you generally don't want to embarrass the corrupt people that you're trying to take advantage of their corruptness. And essentially, you know, and then the prosecutor leaked this video where he said, oh, the Romanian government, I'll just show up with a stack of cash and I'll walk right out of prison. Maybe that were true before the release of this video, and I think that's why the prosecutor leaked it. But now certainly it puts the screws to a lot of other people. Now, of course, there were a series of messages that were released by Vice World News on Wednesday that appear to show him boasting about, you know, doing the R word. Now, again, these are people who are, you know, I'm not trying to like defend the guy, but I'll say, you know, these are people using the literal definition of the words he's using. It's entirely possible they're into this thing. They have some sort of safe word, some sort of thing of that nature. But there were text messages where he said, you know, I love doing this to you, the R word, you know. Tate said one of his texts, monsters are monsters, and when you're under my control, I do whatever I please. A spokesman for the PD confirmed that this is an old message, that he was in fact arrested back in 2015 over this very same allegation. So they're trying to bring this back up, I guess. He had been arrested earlier in the year over the same claims of two other women who also spoke to Vice. One accused him of the big R, and the other of putting his hands on him. He was arrested over those claims back in 2015, police confirmed to Insider. The UK's Crown Prosecution Service did not bring charges in any of the cases. The third accuser shared texts with which she said he sent her after the incident. She gave those messages to police, she said. Insider could not independently verify them. The woman who used the alias Amelia told Vice that she and Tate had known each other since 2009 and began dating in 2013. The first night she went over to Tate's apartment, she told the publication that a switch had flipped after she told him she didn't want to hook up that night. I got up and looked at him and went, "What's wrong?" The woman told Vice the guy literally laid there and went, "I'm just debating whether or not I should R-word you or not." She told the outlet that Tate then did something terrible after that, calling her his property and asking, "Who do you belong to?" Now, again, this is her claim. And, again, I can't say if it's true or not, but what I can say is, clearly the police at that point didn't feel like there was enough evidence to corroborate it. Again, just because you don't get charged, that doesn't mean you didn't do the crime. It just means there wasn't sufficient evidence of it. But this is the world we live in, so they felt like at that point there wasn't enough evidence. And so now they're kind of baking this in to this latest situation in 2023. Again, obviously, if true, horrible, but there's some reason that they didn't prosecute, and I wonder what that is. 6 months later, the woman had filed a police report, and by 2015, she was contacted by the PD as they sought evidence on Tate. At that point, she turned over her phone, which included those texts after the incident. The voice notes provided by the woman from Tate struck a macabre tenor as well. Writing, "Am I a bad person? Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it." Tate could be heard saying in one of the voice notes, per Vice, adding that he wanted to pin her down and make her do things she didn't like. Again, this sounds like it could be kink stuff. I don't know. If she says it wasn't, then I suppose that's the word. "I'm one of the most dangerous men on the planet," he said in a video. "Sometimes you forget exactly how lucky you are to get effed by me." Some of the things this dude says are like both epic and kind of scary. And these are things that he said on recordings. Again, they didn't charge him at the time. Now, there were some other things that look bad as well, including him claiming in several cases, he wrote, you're not stupid. You can probably guess how I make so much money. This is from a Wiretap. "I have to hide what I'm really doing. I've been doing this for a long time with a team of girls working on video chat." This is known, right? "The company was fake, but this is how I laundered my dirty money. Some of the girls who worked for me, I used them to do other things, to move money or illegal things, documents, etc." Again, this is what he said, okay? And generally when somebody says, like they're admitting to a crime, they probably did it. But what the police have to do at this point is to actually prove that he did these things. Prove that he actually had women move documents and other illegal things, which, we've seen no evidence of. I assume it must exist, right? In the same report by Digi24, more details about Tate and his brother. One person described the experience. The prosecutors claiming that the girls worked under the brothers were often made to feel intimidated by armed guards who were stationed in every room, including the spicy campsites where they worked. More shockingly, the girls were also reported to get tattoos that would read "Owned by Tate," a common trope amongst trafficking. Now, again, this term trafficking, has been used as a catch-all in some cases, and in some cases it's been completely accurate. But these transcripts don't look good. Him telling, "You can't go outside without telling me, the mall, the supermarket, nowhere from now on. I told you I wanted to go on. This is your last warning. I heard you're the one running the OF and TikTok account. Like, it's possible, you know, a lot of these, the other things is there's claims that he misled these women, that he was going to marry them only to then basically put them to work. And he's got a video basically saying that, you know, like I don't know if it's for his course or whatever, but it, you know, doesn't look good. You see, it's Tristan and Andrew have been placed, obviously, in Bucharest detention center on suspicion of trafficking, attempting to form a crime group, and committing all sorts of other claims. But you're talking about, you know, having a fake company. That's not a good. That's probably not looking good. Almost certainly not looking good. You know, the wiretap. He's gonna have to answer for that stuff. This stuff doesn't look good. You know, I think that is, you know, I'm actually interested to see if this ever goes to court. My opinion has still remained that he will not do any time beyond this 30 days. That isn't me saying he's guilty or innocent. My opinion is that he won't do any time. Right now, we're looking at them dredging up several old claims that, unless there's new evidence, you're not going to convict him. Now, there are other things where on video he talks about paying his women in Bitcoin so he doesn't have to pay his taxes, tax evasion, you know, this kind of stuff. This is how they get mobsters, is tax evasion. And if, you know, he talks about that on video. So if there is an actual paper trail of him, you know, exchanging Bitcoin and not paying taxes and all this kind of stuff, that will be most likely. You know, governments, you don't give them their money, that's when they suddenly start caring a little bit more. So if he was, you know, tax evading using cryptocurrency, that's probably going to be what gets him, unless there's more evidence here. But right now, based on what's out there, they're still going to have to prove it. He said these things, but there's going to have to be some evidence. Certainly, it doesn't look great. I hope you're informed by this video. If you were, please make sure you leave a like on it and you subscribe down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.